Phillies win the series over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Welcome into Postgame Live, presented by Curado Insurance. Ashlyn Sullivan, Ricky Bowe, Ben Davis here with you. Another great performance. This is the Kyle Schwarber postgame show, but the moral of the story is the Phillies finally get that much-needed series win, Ricky. Yeah,
much needed. Apparently, the only team they could win series against is the Dodgers, and that's a pretty good team to be able to take a series from. I'm kind of laughing right now, but it's almost like a weight off of the Phillies' shoulders. I'm sure the team feels like that. I'm sure everybody in that clubhouse is kind of relieved that this is finally over, that they finally won a series because – let's face it, Rob Thomson is in that locker room, and I'm sure every series he's probably going, come on, guys, let's win this series. Let's go. Let's get game one. And every time it was a loss and blah, blah, blah. Well, they lost game one, this one. They came back and won the next two. Hopefully this kind of, I guess pushes them into this next series with the team we all hate right now in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So it's a big win in the sense you're going into a big series, too, again. And you finally got a series win.
Yes, and 6 straight series losses, Ben, and Kyle Schwarber as well, but overall just a much-needed win right now.
It was a much-needed win, and I like the fashion in which they did it. They haven't had a whole lot of comeback wins in recent weeks, and they're able to come back. Gavin Stone was throwing the ball extremely well. They were down 4-1 in this ball game, and it kind of looked like it was just on the way to another series loss. But they were able to bounce back in this one. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber played a huge factor in that. But Tyler Phillips sustained through 5 innings. He was able to get them 5 innings. Bullpen did a great job. There's a little shoddy defense early on, but the Phillies took advantage of a huge, I believe, missed call in that ball game by Hunter Wendelstedt at third base. We'll get into that, but nice team win.
It was, and it's hard to believe, even with the Phillies playing so poorly this past month, losing 6 straight series. They have the best record in baseball, jumping the Orioles by half a game tonight, as well as the Braves in the NL East. It's wild that you can look at this past month and still have the best record in baseball.
It is pretty wild, but when you look at the Atlanta Braves, I think they may be shot, and I don't like to take shots at the Braves because I think they're a really good team. But when you think about all the injuries that have happened to that ball club, and they were that close to the Phillies, think about that. They were 5.5 games back. Now all of a sudden, just like that, it's back up to 7.5. That's a little demoralizing to a team, and I think that is a real uphill battle just for the sole fact that they're down 2 starting pitchers, or down 4 or 3 starters in their starting lineup. So that's really tough on a ball club.
It really is. We now go back to Los Angeles and hear from Ruben Amaro Jr., who is standing by, who had a great call with Tom McCarthy. And Ruben, the Phillies really needed this win. They needed this series win. What was your biggest impression from this game?
Well, I was really impressed by the fact that Tyler Phillips just stayed with it. Arguably, he could have gotten away with no runs. They didn't make a whole lot of – they had some opportunities to make some plays behind him. When they didn't, they racked up four early runs, and a really nice job also by the bullpen. 4 scoreless. Super job by them. And it looks like they're getting their rhythm back, which is so important, especially going into this series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. These guys are playing as good a baseball as anybody. It's nice to have some momentum going into that series. But again, even more importantly, they're starting to swing the bats like they know that they can, and that's a really good sign as well. Not the cleanest game in the early part of the game, but also a really great game for them to show their perseverance and their ability to bounce back.
Ruben, I looked down at the box score, and some dude was 4 for 4 with 7 RBIs and 3 home runs. What could you tell us about this kid named Kyle Schwarber?
Yeah, he was just amazing. And he has such tremendous bat speed, but the thing that he's done this year, and we talked about it a little bit during the broadcast, is in this part of his career, he's actually made a very serious adjustment. Obviously he's got, 65 or 70 points higher on his batting average. He's utilizing the middle of the field more consistently. He's getting more consistent hits. Walking a ton. He's on base as much as anybody in all of baseball, the most in the National League, definitely. But he also has prodigious power. It's amazing for him to go right field, center, left field, center field. Pretty amazing. It's almost like he's playing Nintendo baseball right now. But his swings have been excellent. Even that double down the right field line is a little cutter inside for him not to hook around it and to stay through it and drive it down the right field line. really impressive at bats. And boy, when Kyle Schwarber gets hot, boys and girl, we know exactly what can happen up that to opposing pitchers.
Ruben, Trey Turner with a couple hits tonight, Nick Castellanos with a couple hits tonight, seemingly laying off that breaking ball down and away. They spit on some pitches tonight and looked really good at home plate. They just felt comfortable, a lot more comfortable, but staying in the middle of the diamond again, that's a good sign for the Phils as well, correct?
It really is. I mean, I love the way Nick is handling himself. There was a lot of talk about, where's Nick Castellanos? And he was struggling in the early part of the year. But I guess after the first month and a half or 2 months of the season, he's really been good and very consistent, particularly right now. He's seeing the ball extremely well. One of the things he's done in his entire career is drive the ball the opposite way, a little bit like Alec Boehm, utilizing the entire field. I love the way he's swinging the bat. I think Trey Turner's starting to come around as well, and that's a really good sign. Anytime those guys are driving the ball to the opposite field, getting hits up the middle of the field, as we've talked about a million times, that's when danger comes, because then when pitchers start making mistakes, they're not missing them and they're driving them out of the ballpark.
Yes, they are. Phillies win this one 9-4. Ruben, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you tomorrow, guys.
With an 89-mile-an-hour changeup.
I don't get that
And he goes
either.
up top. I didn't get it, but you know what? Good hitters take advantage of that, and that's what the Schwarberian did tonight.
I'm sorry. We were watching a video tonight, and he told me that if I would come back with a curveball in a certain situation, he'd be mad at me now. And we were watching a video from like 20 years ago.
Schwarberian season stats: 261 OBP, 390, 79 runs scored.
Is he going to get the 400? OBP? He's got a
See why
shot.
not.
He's got a very good shot.
He's got a chance for 100 RBIs, 100 runs scored, possibly 35 homers, maybe.
I mean, think about this game tonight. Philly scored 9 runs. He was up at the plate for when 8 of them scored.
Crazy.
I mean, one of them was a wild pitch right before he hit his 3-run home run. So he very well could have had 8 RBIs tonight. I mean, talk about being a beast. Talk about stepping up there and saying, come on, this one's on me tonight. And we always talk about who's going to carry the team. Is there a player out there that could put this team on their back? That's what we're talking about. A game like this where everybody else could just kind of kick back, relax, put your feet up, and have a beer during the game if they needed one. But, I mean, that's a nice game by him.
And the thing that is so unique about Kyle Schwarber is if you were to teach maybe a protege or a kid how to hit, you're never going to say to him, okay, go hit like Kyle Schwarber. His stance, the way he approaches it is so unique in the fact that he really does use his hands and his forearms, the way he just whips the bat through the zone, lets the pitches get so deep, and the way he gets into his legs. Think about it. How many other hitters in baseball have that approach or have that swing, that finish? Not many, if any. I can't think of anybody.
Honesty, I can only think of one guy like since the 70s, and that's Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson, yeah, that's a good comp. Carlos Delgado with the Blue Jays, very similar to that.
Still had a big
but
whip
it's a
to him.
very unique way to hit. I mean, he doesn't do a toe tap. He just gets up there and just kind of bam, and it's gone. And it's so fun to watch.
And as a pitcher, you look at the hands a lot, and you see him relaxed as he is right now. That's kind of scary. I'm not saying that just to look at Schwarber and say how good he is. But when you see a guy as relaxed as he literally kind of puts his bat on his shoulder like, what are you going to do? You're not going to fool me with anything. I got quick hands. They're right here. And he has that quick snap. And when a guy can do that and get the barrel to the baseball, it's a scary feeling because in one swing of the bat, anytime, any place, anywhere, they can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
29 leadoff home runs as a Philly.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, right?
All right.
It's amazing. I mean, you look at those numbers right there. Jimmy Rollins, who you would say possibly is a prototypical leadoff man because he has speed. Well, I'll take 390 on base percentage at the top of the lineup any day of the week.
I think we all would, including manager Rob Thomson. Let's go now back to Los Angeles to hear from the manager after a big Phillies win.
All right.
To watch somebody do something like that, which we did tonight.
Yeah, really, really special. This guy's he can really hit. He's, as I said prior to the game, he's smart. He comes in, he does his work, he does his prep work. Yeah, it's a big night.
Do you feel like he has a knack for kind of putting you guys on his back when you guys need it, when you need someone to step up? And
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, there are times when we're in a bit of a slump, and he'll inject some energy into the club with a leadoff home run or a big home run somewhere. He's a lot like Harp that way.
Do you feel like that Rojas catch injected some energy too?
I think so. I mean, he had a great game. Two great catches.
Yeah.
He had the one later where he, on the shallow fly ball, infield single that he beat out. A great at bat for the walk. So he had a really good game.
How bad is Hayes' hamstring?
We'll check him tomorrow, but he felt it grabbed, so not really sure.
Who got off to a little bit of a shaky start, Ricky, but held his own in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure the shaky start was actually his fault, to be honest with you. I thought he made some good pitches. The one thing you want him to do is put the ball in play, try to get some weak contact. He got all that, but nothing was really going well. I mean, Brandon Marsh probably should have made a play in center field. A ball ekes over the head of Turner. Just all kinds of stuff, all kinds of messy stuff going on early on in the game for the Phillies. I mean, nothing was really going right, but he battled. I mean, you battle your way through these things. You end up getting a lot of ground ball outs. I mean, you should be proud of yourself. You had 11 swings and misses on 11 swings and misses on 51 swings, so not too shabby. But it's just one of those things where you're going to have games like that. You're going to have games where you think you're making good pitches and things aren't going as well as you wanted them to. But what do you do after that? What do? Do you keep battling through, or you're going to give up that one big hit? I thought he battled through in this one.
What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think if you look at it, his competitive nature, we've seen that from day one, is the fact that he has very good composure out on the mound, and he's just not a guy that's going to give up. And I think that for having that composure, being such a young age, in a city that you grew up watching your hometown team play, it speaks volumes to me about what he has on the inside and what he has in knowing that, I maybe it's not going great right now, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. I'm still going to try and put my team in the best position to win. And some of the breaks could have gone in a different way for him early in this ball game, but they didn't. He didn't let that affect him, and he went out there and he still battled. He still went out and competed and really did put his team in the best position to win. He kept his team in the ball game. They came back and won for him.
2 homer games, not all that unusual, but 3 is special. What was it like to have a night like you did?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being able to come through for the team, right? You're not going out there trying to do too much in spots, and it just happens to go right. It's just a weird thing, but I always say that the biggest thing is just being able to trust the work in the cage. And when I got in there, you make adjustments, make tweaks, whatever it is, and then you just go out there and you compete in the game and take what you got. And it was a good result today, and just hopefully keep that work and go with it forward. And there's going to be days where there's going to be good results and bad results, and just have to be able to stay true to the work and go from there.
Is this a game I imagine we'll always remember, even though it's a regular season game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be it'll be in the memory, but I think that's the biggest thing is getting us a series win there, and I guess a really quality opponent, and heading into another big series there in Arizona. So keeping the momentum on our side is going to be big, and there was a lot of other cool things that were done by guys today. You look at Phillips, who goes out there and goes back out for the 5th inning, and keeps it there at 4-1, and then we get in striking distance, and the way the bullpen was able to go out there and throw strikes, attack everyone, and if they're in the zone, they're attacking. That they're going to be hard to beat. And obviously with Hazy going down, you look at Rojas, who answers a call right away, makes a great catch in the outfield, and have some really good at-bats, and they great at-bats, all around pretty cool win.
Phillips said it was pretty cool after he hit the 2nd home run, I think. You said thanks for keeping us in the game. And he's like, well, thanks for hitting the 2-run home run that gave us the lead. And he had a little back and forth, but he seemed to appreciate kind of recognizing him in that moment.
No, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, that's big for us where we're going into a 4-game set in Arizona. And it keeps you keep an arm available now where you don't have to use a bullpen guy in that spot. He's able to go back out there and get through 5, and then he can hand it off to the bullpen. He's a competitor, and I'm sure he was fighting some things, but he was able to go out there, figure it out, grind it out, and got us through 5, which was huge, and kept it there at 4-1.
Rob, before the game, Rob was talking about how, like, you know, you had your goals in spring training, you want to hit for higher average, you want to cut down your strikeouts. I mean, how pleased are you that you've kind of been able to see the efforts of that work kind of show up on the field and in the box scores?
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, there's things that you want to accomplish, but to do that, you have to be able to work and put in the work, and you know that's the name of the game. And you know, we have a great hitting staff who's very accountable and keeps you on what you want to do, and able to have conversations with them. And you know, it's really good back and forth communication from hitters to hitting staff, and you know, it's just nice to have a group like that we have to work with.
Now that it's over, there was a lot of focus on this series because 2 really good teams. Now that it's over, thoughts about these last 3 days and beating the Dodgers 2 out of 4?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're always going to be a really tough opponent, and you know, still missing a couple key guys over there, right? And that's you know, the name of the game, where you hope through a season healthy. You know, we've gone through that where guys have been banged up, and you know, you're going to find a way through it. And I'm sure you know these guys are going to find their way into a postseason position, and you know, you just got to be able to remember the at-bats, remember the you know, the way we attack you, things like that, and put it away if we ever face them again down the road. So you know, I'm not saying that you know, there's a long road still ahead for us, and we got to be able to go out there and handle business and go from there. But like, to answer the question, just put it back in the memory if you do face them down the road.